I am so excited about this episode. This has been on my calendar for a few weeks with this special guest, and you're going to hear why this person is really special to me because the way you hear me speak on this podcast has a lot to do with her helping and me going through her group coaching. And I want this guest to take just a few minutes to introduce themselves. Let me tell you, Tracy Goodwin is with me today. Tracy, thank you so much for taking time to join me. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much for asking me. I'm absolutely delighted to be here with you today.
Well, and you don't know it, but I'm here to tell you. I know I've mentioned on occasions, but taking your group coaching genuinely changed not only our business, but me as a person and how I really have learned to use my voice to its best possible. I don't even know the exact words to put around it. I just want to say I'm very thankful. I know that I heard before I took your group coaching from past clients of yours or those that were still in programs of yours how much you helped them and how much the voice changed their business. And my testimonial is probably not too far from theirs. Like most of your previous clients, it's really opened other opportunities for not only communicating with business, but also personally as well. So, thank you very much. I greatly appreciate everything you put into your group coaching. And I know you do that on a continual basis, but thank you. My listeners are in for a real treat today because Tracy, first, I want you to introduce yourself, but I know you've got some great information to share.
Well, I'm so glad you got so much out of that program. And I love everything you just said because it encompasses a lot of what I believe and what I teach and what I work with, which is our voice is the most powerful instrument we have. And I have been doing this work for well over 30 years. And I don't know that it was ever actually on my radar that this was the work that I was going to do because strangely enough, I was raised in a family that this was very much a generational concept that children are to be seen and not heard. And that was really the foundation of what I have created and what I work with today, which is, I call myself a voice coach, and everybody that's worked with me says, stop calling yourself a voice coach. That's not what you do. It's really about transformation. It's really about the work that I do is really about finding your voice and maximizing it to serve your audience and to really make the impact that you want to make with your message. And so often we don't, like I said, we don't even realize that our voice is so powerful. And so I guess in a way, I help people find the best version of themselves through their voice.
I think that's an excellent way to put it. Before I enrolled in your group coaching, I did not understand the power of my voice. Now, I've got a powerful voice, let me tell you, I can use it. But when you start talking about business and getting a message out, sometimes you're so limited to attention spans or the time to do things and how to use your voice in different ways and how powerful it can be to slow down. Because although you may completely understand what you're saying, the person listening to you may not.
That's right. That's exactly what we're talking about here is people don't recognize the power of their voice. And a lot of it has to do with what the world teaches us or things that we don't know, right? There's no criticism here at all. A lot of the things that I talk about around voice, people have never thought about. First and foremost, what we do is we put all this focus on the words and getting the words right. And I've got to give you a lot of words. In fact, I've got to give you every detail of every word, of every concept, of every bit of everything, because in my mind, I believe that's what is going to make you want to buy from me or want to work with me. And what people don't realize, first and foremost, this is a mind bender in and of itself. I don't know what you know. So the minute you start wording me, fire hose wording me with all the reasons and all the details and all the information, I'm out. Every 7 seconds, our brain tells us to check out. Let that sink in for a minute. And if I don't know what you're talking about, and you start rattling off a whole lot of words about a whole lot of things, about a whole lot of information, because you believe those words are going to make me want to work with you, you have totally missed your opportunity. I want to work with you because I connect with you and I like you, and I hear in your voice that you are the one to help me, not every single solitary detail of every single solitary thing that is irrelevant to me in this moment because I don't even know what you're talking about.
I think just then I just went back a few months into class when you were teaching. I can remember how I met you was through Courtney
Mhm.
Elmer's podcasting group, which, gosh, so thankful that you were part of that. And I can remember being on that thinking, yeah, I can talk. I mean, I do videos all the time. And when you had me play something, and the things that you brought up were like ding, 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 like it hit on everything because I've always felt like, okay, I know all this stuff. I want to explain it all to this person. Now I've got to talk real fast because I only got a short attention span. Now I got to get all this information in because if they don't hear all this, then they may not do business with me. And like you said, missing the whole point because they're out. I've lost them because I'm talking way too fast. They may understand what I'm saying, but I'm talking so fast that their brains can't keep up because you said this. They're hearing it for the first time.
Mhm.
You may have said it umpteen times in your life, but the person on the receiving end, it's their first time to digest that information. If you want them to remember it, you have to use your voice in a way that they can follow what you're saying.
That's right. That's right. And we just don't think like that. We just don't think like that. And I'll use you as an example. What you just said as an example of the power of this work. You were fine. You were good. It's not about, oh boy, we've got a situation here. I've got a problem. It's not
Alert.
right, and it's not about that. It's about how can I get you to the next level? It's all about the next level, and it's all about shining a light on the things that you hadn't thought about because you were successful. People are successful. They just don't realize what they're doing and where they're giving the power to. And we feel this sense of urgency. Like I know a lot of your people do bridal shows or events. And here's a perfect example of something that I see in these kinds of scenarios. I've done this event 400 times. I'm going to start phoning in this message and saying it. I'm going to give you all the words. I got to give you all the words because I got to get over here and talk to this guy and give him all the words and her all the words and everybody all the words. And we're so disconnected from it because we've got our eye on the outcome. It's not about the outcome. It's about how are you making me feel in that moment with those words. It's we get into this, let me talk at you. And you talked about going fast. And the minute I start going fast, there's this desperation about it. And I'm trying to get somewhere and I'm trying to make you understand and I'm talking at you. And that actually repels you from me. And all of this is going down subconsciously, right? I'm literally working with voice from the perspective of the subconscious. And so we think, I've got to hurry up and give Kristina a whole lot of words and I got to tell her all the information. And I have no idea that I'm repelling her because subconsciously she's trying to find someone to connect with.
Well, and I'm so glad you brought up about bridal shows or wedding shows because if you have 200 or 300 people come through at a wedding show, you're right. You've got limited time. However, you could be missing out on every one of those leads because you're talking at them or you're talking so fast they can't even remember the name of your business because you're trying to throw all 20 things that you offer at them in a 60-second window when if your very first sentence didn't hit it home, they probably don't remember the name of your business.
That's right. That's right. And we use and that's a perfect example. We use fast for all the wrong reasons. Fast is the weakest tool in the toolbox of all the vocal variety elements because and it goes back to the core of what we're talking about. I don't know what you know. I don't know your business. I don't know you. I've never heard what you are about to say to me. And in our mind, we think, well, I've got to hurry up and get them all the information. So the minute you start talking fast and I don't know what you know, then all of a sudden, I don't even know I don't know what you just said to me. I don't know the name of your business. And it feels counterintuitive. Your listeners right now might be saying, okay, I don't know about this woman. I don't have time to slow down. You don't have time not to.
Absolutely right. And I don't even know if we mentioned it at the beginning, but your group coaching, your business is called Captivate the Room. And I can remember before you did the training that was part of Courtney's program, which is how I met you, that caught my captivate the room. With my voice.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time I was done with your program, I was able to put additional tools in my toolbox and articulate my words better because I've done what I've done for 20 years. But how many people really got what I did when I was saying, I do this, I do that, I do this, I do that? I was throwing so much at them that hopefully they caught that my name was Kristina, or that someone I knew would mention me again because I was throwing way too much at them and again speaking at them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that I really took away was how to speak in a way that is inviting, that makes people want to have a conversation with you. And it took me a little while because I felt like I was speaking at a snail's pace.
Yeah.
But the more I did it, the more some of my current customers would even say, you've mentioned that before, but this time it makes a whole lot more sense. Because just taking the time to let the power of the pause took that away we'll never forget that. I can't just keep talking when I've explained something to them that they need just a little bit of time to digest. How can I hop to the next topic and not even give them a couple seconds to take in what I've just finished saying? Our brains can only process so quickly. And I think for wedding professionals and any business owner out there, a lot of people speak at people and not in a way that is inviting and provokes conversation or interest, maybe would be the better word.
Definitely. And it's really about missed opportunity. And I'm going to go back to what the world teaches us, what we learn in business, and there's no criticism around that. But pricing is a perfect example. I would imagine in this space, there's not a huge amount of competition in my space. Not a ton of voice coaches. There's a lot of voice coaches, but not a ton of voice coaches. But I would imagine that this weighs on the minds of people. How do what makes me stand apart? What makes me different than that guy or that woman, in all these realms, cakes and flowers and every piece of it. What sets you apart is not is not, and all of this is important, right? I don't want to minimize this, but it's not about the pricing or the details. It is to a degree, but it is about making me feel like you are the person that gets me. that connects with me, that is the person that can help me. And when you can take the time to make people feel that, then the price almost becomes irrelevant, right? Because maybe they are shopping for price, but in the big scheme of things, well, we could take trust, for example. If you're shooting my wedding and you're a photographer, you better believe I'm looking for trust. That happens in the voice.
I'm looking for a photographer that I can communicate with, that makes sure they get the vibe that I have going on at my wedding, that makes sure they understand the shots that I'm looking for, someone that can connect with me. And I think a lot of people out there, wedding professionals and beyond the wedding industry, don't understand that is the voice. That is one of your strongest connection pieces, is your voice.
Well, it is the connection piece for sure. And I have no doubt, I see it in the data. I see it in I'm a big data person. I'm a big voice researcher. And I have said this for years, but I see it in ways that are profound. People want to connect. After what we've been through the last year and a half with the pandemic and people being shut down and locked down, people are needing to hear your voice. They are needing to see your face. And connection happens in the voice. Why? Because we let people in vocally or not. Why? Because how we use our voice is dramatically affected by what's going on in our subconscious, and every single sound in our voice, every sounds the size of a grain of sand, are being processed in your listener's subconscious, and they are deciding who you are based on what they hear. So we could take fast, we could go back to fast, and we could say, okay, this person talks really, really fast. You may be the most gentle, sensitive, any kind of person. But what is your voice reflecting about you? Because your listener's subconscious is going to take in that fast or take in that talking at, and the subconsciously go, yeah, they won't listen to me. They're not the one for me. And the tragedy could be you are the one for them, but you're misrepresenting your gifts. You're misrepresenting your strength. You're blocking connection, and they're going to go to the next booth or the next call or the next whoever, because they're looking for sounds that give them the answers they're looking for, and it's all going down subconsciously.
When I talk to wedding professionals about marketing, especially at a wedding show, I always try to tell them, it's all about giving them a handout, giving them a business card, that kind of thing. What How are you getting to know
Mm-hmm.
this person in front of you? You know, Start with a question to invite them in, not just being the pushy salesperson. Here, take my pamphlet.
Yeah.
You might need my services. Hey, do you have a photographer? Do you have a videographer? Here, what's your date? Let me check my calendar. Am I available? That you've not connected at all. And this, especially with what I do, video is not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere, especially when we talk about coming through the pandemic. People are looking to connect. And a lot of people are having their best results with social media content, website content, email content, including video in that content. Your voice is what is the main ingredient. Yes, you can have flashy clothes on. You can have your makeup done and your hair done, and you can have the perfect background. But the words that come out of your mouth and how you speak them is how that video is going to perform for you. The other stuff I mentioned is important, of course. You can't be in front of a pile of trash or something and expect people, unless that's going to be part of your video. Your backdrop and your clothes, your makeup, your hair is secondary to the most powerful instrument that you taught us that we have, your voice. because that's what people are going to be tuned into when they play that video.
Definitely. And I absolutely agree. All the other things matter. In fact, I have a saying, the words are everything and they are nothing. It's how you make me feel with the words that has the power to affect me. And that's another thing we don't think about. I love the visual of here's my pamphlet, here's my card, here's my what does that make me feel? It's really not about you. It's really about me and how and I know that sounds like crazy selfish, but it's a reframe on how do I want you to feel? Yes, I would love to work with you. Yes, I want you to have my business card, but at the end of the day, I need you to walk away from that show or that event or that whatever. And I don't, in my realm, I don't even do events, but when I have calls with people, I want them to walk away going, wow, I love her. She really gets me. She really listened to me. She can really help me. It's all about a conversation and how I want you to feel. Yeah, I'll give you the details on my program. Yeah, I'll give you the price point. Yeah, I'll give you my social media. I'll do all of that, and all of that matters. But at the end of the day, what matters the most is that you can't stop thinking about me that night.
Well, and Tracy, with wedding professionals, you could be meeting somebody whose wedding is not, it's 2 years out. So they may not be booking someone for 6 months. So that impression
Hmm.
that you leave with that person is so important. They're not necessarily going to make a decision the next day or the next week. Then, of course, your other marketing material plays a role in that process, but that first impression is going to come from what came out of your mouth. And wedding professionals, especially, they also do meetings with clients, whether on Zoom or in person or many different ways. People are listening to what they're saying. And in that space, there are normally a lot of competitors in the specific businesses. And a way you can stand out is what you already have. It's just knowing how to use it and how to pull from it and the different varieties as you teach and when those can be used to bring the most power, not necessarily loudness, but the most power to that conversation.
Absolutely. And back to what I had said early on, we don't think about this, right? It's all about the words and it's all about the information and the data and the pricing. And we, our voice is something that we're born with that is a full and beautiful orchestra from the day that we're born. And little by little, the world takes it away, according to psychology of the voice, and we don't even realize that we are not maximizing. It's like leaving money on the table. It's literally like, oh, I'll just leave all that money on the table and I'm going to go over here and give you some words. You have an instrument. Are you playing the full orchestra or do you have a one-man band?
Absolutely. And I also want my listeners to know that you have a podcast that you put out great tips and information. And if you've never even thought about how powerful your voice is, that's a great place to start by listening to your podcast. And I'm going to put in the show notes ways that people can connect with you and find out about upcoming coaching opportunities and more ways to work with you. But would you share a couple of points for my listeners, maybe where they could start or maybe where their thinking could start with their voice?
Definitely. So I'll give you a couple of thoughts, and I want to jump back to what you said a little while ago about video. That is no longer not an option. So if you are not getting on video, you are missing opportunities in ways that will profoundly impact your business in a negative way. It is no longer an option to be on video. Full stop.
Absolutely.
Right? Full stop. Now, you might be thinking, yeah, but video's weird. I don't like video. I don't. let me give you something that will help you on video. Don't get on video and think about how weird it is and you're getting no feedback from people and I'm staring at this piece of glass. Get on video and think about having a conversation with someone you know, like, and trust in your mind's eye, or put their picture under your camera, but you're just literally talking to Bill and Judy at the coffee table. Kristina knows all
I
about Bill and
was getting ready to
Judy.
mention, I talk to them on a regular basis.
Yeah,
I don't understand why they can't bring me my coffee
I know.
before I'm going to turn on my video.
I know. I know. I talk about Bill and Judy all the time. And Bill comes over here without coffee for Judy. And then I hit record and I'm talking to Bill and Judy, but I'm talking to you. And it takes the weirdness away, because that's a real stumbling block for people is, I don't like video. I don't like the way I look. I don't like the way I sound. I don't like it's weird. If you will get out of your head thinking about all of those things and talk to Bill and Judy, you're going to be able to do it. Another
Now,
thing.
can
Yeah.
we explain just for a second
Yeah.
who Bill and Judy are?
Well, Bill and Judy are people I know, like, and trust. And I talk about Bill and Judy in my coaching, but you have a Bill and Judy. Maybe it's
They're imaginary
yeah,
people that you talk to
yeah, yeah. And now they're
right
real.
before you start recording. That way, you can get past those negative thoughts some, and you're kind of being a little lighthearted with it, or whatever helps you get settled in, so to speak,
Yeah.
instead of being like, I can't believe I'm doing video. Gosh, I got to hit the record button. You're going into it so negatively, it's going to come across in your body language and your voice.
Oh, for sure. If you're in your mind, everything that is in your mind, now maybe I shouldn't drop this one, but what is in your mind is going to come out in your voice. So if you're sitting there going, I hate video, video's dumb, video, I don't like any. Hi, everybody. Welcome to, I want to talk. No. Okay. So if I'm having an imaginary conversation with Bill and Judy about how Bill never brings Judy any coffee, and I don't even know why she tolerates that anymore, and then I hit the button, I'm going to go, hey, everybody, I'm so glad y'all are here with us today.
You just bring a different energy.
Totally different.
And you need that adjustment, especially if you have in your mind that you're not a fan of video.
That's
because
right.
You're right. It is no longer, it's not an option.
It's not an option.
You have to do video. If you're listening to this podcast episode and you do not do some type of video, you don't go live, you don't have recorded video, you don't have a video on your website, stop what you're doing and make sure you do that.
Yeah.
You are missing so many event opportunities. If you're a wedding professional, if you're a business owner, you are missing the boat when it comes to sales by not utilizing video.
And that could be Instagram stories. It could be YouTube videos. It could be Facebook Lives, LinkedIn.
Yes, LinkedIn. Mm-hmm.
It's not an option to not do it anymore. And it's not a good enough excuse that you don't like it anymore. Because if you have techniques that will work, you will learn to like it. So here's a couple more that will be valuable for video, but these are valuable anywhere, really. First of all, it's just a conversation. Everything is just a conversation. I'm not trying to get anywhere. I'm not trying to prove anything. I'm not trying to convince you of anything. Even if I'm doing a sales pitch, it's just a conversation. Everything is just a conversation. And so you think about it that way. Another thing that happens, and this, I'm going to take this back to video, don't do 40 takes. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Do not do it. When people work with me, they get one take and they have to confess.
I remember
right?
this from class, because I was like, oh my gosh, she's right. The more takes you do, it's going downhill.
Yep.
Stay in it and finish out the take. And that has been a game changer for me. I feel like I'm more authentic my first take.
Yeah.
Coming off of your group coaching, I've just felt like I learned to be myself. It allows me to connect better because, and not to go off on this, I learned about the on and off switch. And I said, I do not have an on and off switch. And it didn't take me a week or two in Tracy's program to be like, oh my goodness, when you hit the record button, what happens?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't really sound like that. I don't
Right.
speak like that.
No.
So why am I doing it? So it was very eye-opening that you've even said about the on-off switch because people are not going to connect with fake.
No, it would be like if I did the rest of the interview like this, and you would be, you would be like, okay, I need to go lay down after I finish this interview. And it's, do you feel the bulletproof glass that came up, the barrier that
Whoop.
came? Yeah, I'm not letting you in. No way. I'm going to perform because in my mind, for some crazy reason, I think that's what I am supposed to do. And that really is a beautiful segue into something else I want to tell you across the board. Don't decide what we're thinking. Do not decide what we're thinking. You have no, I'm sitting here with Kristina. We're on video, of course, in different cities. I have no idea what she's thinking right now. And neither am I going to go to the place of, I wonder if she thinks I'm doing a good job, or I wonder if I'm saying everything she wants me to say, or I wonder if her listeners are liking me. The minute I go there, it's in your ear. Now I have started banana, 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 because I'm disconnected. I'm no longer having a conversation. I'm worried about what you're thinking. I'm in the future. I don't decide what they're thinking. Don't even go
I was
there.
very guilty of that. And I didn't know it until you highlighted that as part of your group coaching. I didn't realize I'm trying to say what I think people would be wanting to hear from me, or I think that this person wants me to explain it this way, or they're probably asking this question, or they're probably, you just have to speak from not questioning anything. And when you learn to do that, the peace of mind that comes from clear honesty, clear transparency. Me and Tracy didn't prepare anything for this episode, not a single thing. No bullet points, nothing on screen for us to look at. And I feel like she has helped me with confidence to do my podcast episodes and video and I could keep going by listening and being in the moment is how I'm going to respond the best, but also how I'm going to know to keep up with the conversation or to go into the next question because I've been in the moment. I've not been thinking, oh, Tracy's probably getting ready to say this. And that was something, it was hard for me to learn. But as soon as it clicked, and Tracy said, now might take just a little bit, but when it clicks, you're going to understand the importance of it. And boy, do I ever.
I love that you said that because that's really what this work is about for me. People come here, I think people sometimes come here thinking they're getting one thing and they get something different, right? But I can teach you to captivate the room. That is easy. That is, we can definitely do that. But what this work is about for me is exactly what you just said. I want people to have inner freedom around using their voice, and most people don't. Most people are doing exactly what you just said. I got to write the notes and I got to have the script and I got to decide. I've got people that will spend a Sunday, well, when they get here, I fix this real quick. I got to think about, if she says this, then I'm going to say that. And then you know what, if they say that, then I'm going to, are you kidding me? No. No, 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 no. There's no inner freedom there. And that's what confidence is really about, is I trust I'm going to say what you need to hear, and I'm going to be so present that I can let that flow out of my mouth.
And you said that at the first part of our group coaching. And I thought, I'm not sure exactly who this lady is, but no way I'm getting there in this class. Just not going to happen. And the way I've been able to use what I learned in a voice class, like if you want to call it, Tracy, a voice coach, and you want to call it a voice class or program, has been used so many different ways than just the words coming out of my mouth. I can't even begin to tell you on how many points, but most of that hinges from letting go. It's kind of like a letting go in Just trust the words are going to come to you. And I thought to myself, there's no way. And she's 100% correct. When you learn and you put the in and you practice and you put forth the effort, then you've done the work. You can trust in yourself that by listening, you can carry on the correct conversation, if you want to use the word correct. You can answer and bring the best points about your business without having anything written down. You can trust that it's going to come at the right time. And it did. It does now. I wasn't there, and it wasn't highlighting how bad I was or gosh, it just allowed me to work on improving something that all of us are born with. And yes, it saves me time, but also the peace of mind with it. But a lot of business owners out there are trying to find ways to save time and energy. And who would have thought if you can work on your voice, on your most powerful tool, that you can get there. And that's what I love helping people do is find better ways to run their business. If you want to word it that way, the voice can play an intricate role in that.
Definitely. And it's really not something people have ever, you just, we don't think that way. We just, it just falls off our radar, and we get busy doing what we're doing. And it, for so many people, they just, like I have said ad nauseum, they don't realize the power, the
Well,
impact.
you remember my husband Josh,
Yes.
and he said, "Did you just say that you're taking a voice class?" I was like, "Yes." I was like, "For lack of a better word, yes." And he was like, "You do videos all the time. Like people go on and on about your videos." And I'm like, "Yeah, but there's just something here. There's just something. I don't know exactly what it is, but I really think there's some things I can work on." And Josh voiced his opinion a couple times during class, but he called me out on when I said, "Wow, they talked about an on-off switch." And he was like, "Oh yeah, you do that." And I was like, "Well, that's what they're talking about. If you can get over doing that, how much more you can connect with people and draw people in. They'll listen if it's a 3-minute video, a 5-minute video, they're drawn in because you're not being somebody that you aren't. You're not trying to be somebody else." And that's when he really spoke up and was like, "Oh no, nope, she just did that. That's her on switch. That's
Yeah.
not her being her."
Yeah.
In that, so the power in what you do, Tracy, I'm just one of somebody that you genuinely helped basically change their life, honestly, because you have allowed room for growth and expansion with something we're born with. And it really has changed how I do a lot of things, my personally in business, but also with clients. And to be able to go through a a coaching program that has allowed so much growth opportunity, I hope you realize how important the work you do is for any entrepreneur, for any business owner, for anyone out there that uses their words for anything, how powerful what you do really is.
Oh, well, thank you for saying all that. I'm so glad you got so much value out of the work. I feel so grateful and blessed every single day that I get to do this work and that I get to change lives like this. So I'm glad you feel the same.
Well, thank you so much for being willing to be a guest on my podcast. I couldn't wait for people to hear how I've transformed over the last year and those that helped me with that. It's a group effort. It's not, it's constantly working on yourself. There's nothing wrong with that. There's so many possibilities out there. And anybody that is interested in honing their skills, learning more about how their voice can help them in their business, I encourage you to follow Tracy on social media, go to her website. I'll put links in the show notes. Of course, on our website, there's going to be a link to Tracy's information that you can learn more about her. and any programs that she has coming up that you can work with her. Tracy, I know sometimes you even do some free workshops that you share information. So I encourage you to make sure that you follow her so you can see how you can get involved with Tracy and how she can help you. So, Tracy, thank you for taking time. It means a lot to me that you would put time in your schedule to come and record this episode with me.
Oh, well, thank you so much for having me. I've really enjoyed seeing you and having this conversation.
Yep. And if you want to see the video version of this, you can always go to the YouTube channel or to the website. I always try to record video with my guests so people can see who they are. And if you're not necessarily just into listening to podcasts, that you can catch the video. So, Tracy, real quick, what the website, captivatetheroom.com?
CaptivateTheRoom.com. Captivate the Room is the podcast. And on social
Mhm.
media, I'm either Captivate the Room or Tracy Goodwin.
Well, thank you again. Everybody, please connect up with Tracy. I'd love to hear your feedback about this episode. So go to the website and hit the contact button or the microphone. I'd be happy to share any of those comments or recordings with Tracy. And I hope this sparked some ways that you can utilize your voice to improve your business processes and systems to get more out of your leads and sales. So until next time, thanks again, Tracy. So everybody take care.